putting the face tapes on. I'm already prepped. If you want to see the rest of this, how this goes, just look at my other video on face tapes. I'm going to do things a little differently than I did in the last Born This Way ball video, because throughout the Born This Way ball, I did things a little differently throughout. So again, with the Tom Ford, they are called Tom Ford Traceless Foundation. So these ones I used before were the Traceless Foundation sticks, and these are the Traceless Foundations. And so we're gonna go with Pale Dune, a little Natural, a little Bisque, a little Sable, a little Tawny. Then we're gonna take our Chanel Vida Lumiere Aquas in 20, 12, and 10. Do a little squirt of each. These are a little thicker actually than the Tom Ford, surprisingly, since these were supposed to be kind of like a ultralight skin perfecting sunscreen makeup. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of For Fair Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Youth Boosting Skin Perfect foundation. And a little squiz of Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow. Start with this Luxie one this size, and we'll go to the MAC larger one. Just start stippling, get the concoction nice and evenly distributed, and I would just start going to town. Here you can see what I'm doing really good. Just evenly throwing it out under the eyes, bringing it down. Just like an even distribution over the lids. Just an even spread. A little more tapping into it. Stipple, stipple, stipple. So now we have like this even, not fully like blended in, it's a little streaky, but we have an even amount of this foundation on. So I would put him to the side and take this foundation brush and start evenly stippling it in to get it really like into the skin. You see how I'm like doing this? It's like you can do it really quickly, but you're still stippling, and it just gets the foundation or the makeup, if it's cream blush or whatever, to just melt with the skin. And I do prefer to use a brush than a sponge. I know a lot of people like sponges. If you do, that's fine. I just personally prefer a brush to a sponge because it has a ton of different little tiny bristles that kind of mimic your pores, or as opposed to a brush, it's like one full surface. I feel like when I use, a sponge, when I feel like I use a sponge, I do feel like it takes a lot more of the product into it, and no matter how much I wash it after I use it, every single sponge I've ever had, beauty blender thing, has gotten moldy, whereas brushes don't ever get moldy. So now I'd take one of these and continue to get it into the skin. Now, as you can see, this is what it looks like up close at this point. Looks pretty good, so I'd be happy to move on to the next step. In the show, depending on the wig color and the look we were doing, I would use a brow color. So for this look, I did this look a couple different times with a couple different looks in the show, but for the particular one I'm recreating, I did a sort of more of like a reddish brow, and so that's what I'm gonna show you. Now these don't have the same effect on my brows, but I'm still gonna use one just to show you what I did. I'd use the brow mascara. And if you have a fuller brow, these are really, really great. And you just like coat the hairs with them. I don't have as many hairs, so it doesn't have quite the same effect, but you get the idea. This particular brow mascara, it says Tinted Brow Gel Brunette on the bottom. All the other distinguishing marks have worn off. I think it's Anastasia though. I have them in a lot of different colors, so I'm going to say Anastasia. So that's what I start with, is the brow gel to set it while I'm doing other things. Now I'm gonna take my concealers. I was using a lot of these Tom Ford Illuminating Highlighting Pen for under the eyes. These colors I have here are far too dark to have any sort of an illuminating effect on my face, but that's sort of the texture I was going for. I have these ones I like. These are the Clé de Peau Radiant Corrector for eyes. So for this I like something that's like finer consistency to do have sort of a brightening effect. So let's do some of these. So this one is called Beige. Just kind of like brighten under the eyes, next to the nose, lower on the mouth. And it just adds a little more like tip down. The consistency isn't super thick, so it doesn't add a creasy thickness. It's more just like a brightening, pretty. My Giorgio Armani to just tap and roll, baby, tap and roll. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. Translucent powder. So let me give a little tappy tap so everything gets up in that lid. I'm gonna use this big fluffy guy. This is the Charlotte Tilbury blusher, but I use it for powders. If I didn't set everything with a powder, what could happen? Is you could go to put some color onto your cheeks, and if there's still a wet foundation or concealer, a base, and it hasn't been set, the color that you put on your cheeks can grip to it unevenly and end up with like uneven amounts of cheek color. So let's go to the Builder Brow workshop here with our favorite brushes. Chanel NARS up in the house. Let's start building. I'm gonna take my brow palette, my unknown brow palette. I'm gonna start with the light one and dip into the middle and get that brow built. So for the Born This Way ball, it was very angular out. So the face tapes really help with that. Follow that beautiful line. The tapes have helped for you. Help build. Just drag that girl out. And this is the Chanel brow. Literally, that's her name. Go to the other brow, do the same thing with the light in the middle color. Check in the front, see how they're looking symmetry-wise. Love it, love it. Now I'm going to take my sharper little number 5 NARS, dip into the middle color, first color, a little bit of the dark one, and sculpt a little more. Now these colors are neutral and matte, but they're also a little warm. I love a big long brow. I'm gonna add a little more to Dow. So we have these Natasha Denona palettes I love, and I'm gonna add, for a little more warmth, I'm gonna add her, the one I use for liner, and for a little more to Dow, I'm gonna add these, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. So doop, doop, da doop. Oh yeah, that's great. I'm gonna dip in a little more. Fab. Do the other side, same thing. Great. All right, so brows, perfect. So since that gel didn't, it provided a little color but not a ton of hold, like my brows hairs are still, you know, having a mind of their own. I'm gonna use this clear one and go over what I did and just give them a little, give them the business a little. Eyeshadow. We're gonna go in with shiny but not like crazy sort of deal. So I have this Cover FX deal, and I really love this one. I think it's supposed to be for the face, for la faccia, but it's called Brightener, and it's really pretty on the lid, so we're gonna do that. You'll notice I'm doing something different on the eyes. Oh yeah, baby. Just blend that out up into the crease, into that corner real good, so that it really highlights that corner of the eye. Oh my god, I love it. Great. Now, let's get that crease carved out, yeah? All right, we have this Wander palette, and I'm gonna go in with some of this Chateau and Villa. See those two? Doot doot. Let's see, Chateau. Just go right up in the crease. Oh, this brush is NARS number 4. And just kind of draw the crease like that. And then I'm going to take this NARS 12 and just blend it. Depending on the wig color of the night, maybe go a little warmer in the crease and with the brows. But I did like to carve it out real good. So I'm going to go in Villa here because I feel like it really helps to pop those lids on stage. I'm going to use this Stila brush, this double-ended. You know I love double-ended. I'm going to go into this Iconic palette and try this guy. A little bit of this one. Let's just do one more little. I have this Lime Crime palette. These two colors are just calling my name. This Bliss and this Heavenly. So I'm just gonna dip into Bliss. Oh, that's so pretty. Just don't be afraid to play, because that's how you discover what you really like. I'm gonna dip into oh, it's called Ecstasy, not Heavenly. My mistake. Now I need a little brush to blendy blend. Let me start building my lip stain. During the Born This Way ball, even for this look, there were a lot of different lips depending on the hair color. So I'm gonna start with the stain look, the nude, and start building that. Those stains are so good. And that's the Becca. The labels are worn off, but I wanna say that's Watermelon. Let's take this Laura Geller. It's called a Diamond Dust Baked Gelato Swirl Illuminator. Just swirl into it. Even though we're gonna like eyeline around and over it. Liner time. The moment you've all been waiting for. Let's get our Chanel brush. So you can either start with a liner, just go right into it, be brave, or you can also, you know, start with a darker shadow, which is what I would probably recommend, and build your shape with that. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, is build my shape with Arabian Nights by NARS, one of my favorite shadow palettes. This black sparkly one. Dip in there and start building. So what I would suggest is starting with the basic eye shape here. So kind of like waterline it. You want to do a little tap, make sure you get the least amount of fallout. Give yourself a good waterline. So we have a basic line, including the inner corners. So now I'll dip back in here. And now we want to make the outside wing. So what I usually do and go like this. Look into your mirror and go, okay, I want my eyes this shape, right? And so that's when you lay your brush down and kind of drag it in. And this brush really does a lot of work for you, which is why I love it so. So you can use the corner, the end of your eyebrow, the tail, as a guide to where you want your liner to go, to point. And when you look up, everything should line up pretty well. And you can kind of just fill in to make things even and symmetrical, a little bit at a time. But start with this part. And if you find that you don't like how this is looking at all, you want to trim it down a little, make it smaller, take your little pointy Q-tips, give them a little trim. You want to leave this a little thicker because you're going to put the lashes on, and the lashes are thick, so if it's too thin, it won't work out so great. Yeah, so that's where we start. And then we're going to thicken that top line up with eyeliner from this Smashbox palette. We're going to go into the waterline. All the way over. And I recommend when you're thickening it up to go over the highest line. So the highest line is going to be the most lift. So like the highest part of that is here, to not fill in everything because things will just get thicker and thicker. So like at the corner of your eye, darken up right here, not at the end of your eye, if that makes sense. When you start to darken up the lower places, you can start to bring things down into a droopier place. Like here, I darken up the top of that line, so that's lifting, and reinforce that, and then I darken up the very bottom of this line because that's still high and lifting, and where it comes down and meets here. But I wouldn't darken up right there because then you could start to bring things back down and you don't need that. Now we're going to start with the liner coming down the nose. I'm going to draw it out with Arabian Nights using my Chanel brush. I'm going to start with drawing in the waterline in the corner. And then I'm going to kind of go over here, like drawing that part a little thicker, right here. And start taking the line from the tear duct. So it's like you're drawing it out from the top of the tear duct. Kind of like tapping the product on. Just starting to build it. And different variations of this, we made it longer, some were shorter. Just like clean it up a bit. It's always going to be a little curved because our faces are curved. And this is one of those things that is a symmetry thing and frames your face. So where you put it will depend on your particular face shape. because it does have an effect. It does make you look cat-like, you know? So just like play with it. You'll figure out what you like best for you. If you want it longer, thicker. Everyone's face is different, and what will look best on you will be different. But fun eyeliners like this, you can play with and kind of help, like, kind of like fix weird asymmetries. If you have any, maybe you're all perfect. But that's not why I did it during the Born This Way ball. We just did it because it's a cool liner. See, my nose is crooked, so it's a little harder for me to get it right on myself. All right, I'm gonna mix it up today. I'm gonna use this Hank and Henry Slick With It in Blickety Black. I like this one because it's very easy to use and it's very thin. I'm gonna just cheek it up over here. So I'm gonna take this brush that has no name, and I'm gonna take Melba MAC. This was a very blushy time. Then I'm gonna go into Gilda by NARS. I'm gonna go into Liberty by NARS. Beautiful. I'm gonna take a little Ravish by Tom Ford. Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Powder. And get this Cover FX. This is like the finishing powder. Just go under the eyes a little bit. Just for finishing, a little touch there. We're going to take this Hourglass finishing powder in Soft Light. Swirl. It's so pretty. Now we're going to take Point Black, put it in the back of the hand. Once you get to the point of like darkening it, it kind of like finds its own. I think that's as perfect as we're gonna get. All right, so what we're gonna do, I just drew this on by hand, so I suggest you do the same. It helps if you have a fine brush like this, but if you have like a fine eyeliner pen, that works too. And just squiz on a little more of the Becca little layer. Now the lashes. So as you know, I use my custom lashes. So that's what we shall be using. I'm going to curl them first with my Chanel curler. Bring it to the base, pinch, pinch, brace, pinch, pinch, lift. Done. I'm gonna put some glue on these while we're doing this, and I just like put glue across the tray. Dark duo, always dark. The clear just dries white and I don't like that. I take the lash, I dip it in the glue across the whole thing. La da 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 da. And then set it back in the tray. Mascara while we're waiting. I like to do a primer first to protect the lashes. Let's check these lashes. Let's do it. Alright, so with the lashes, I like to stagger them so that the beginning of the lash is in the inner corner, but not too close, so that we can kind of like cheat the eye and put the outer, I'll show you how I'm doing it. So like the inner corner, I want to be a little bit out from the inner corner, like there. The outside of the lash, oh, they're a little too wet, to line up with the liner. Yeah, they're too wet. So like, but we'll just let them sit here until they dry. The inner corner is like there, and the outer corner is on the liner line. And we push them up with our thumb like that, so they make sure they flip upwards. And then we're like, hey girl. Okay, now the other lash. Put it like right there. And then this side there, so it's like higher than the eye. So we're not actually putting them like corner to corner. See, we got them like that instead, which really helps with the lifting and opening of the eye, and to kind of like make the eyes look even bigger. So there's our lash. Now we're like, yes, 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 yes. Now we'll do the lip. Lip, lip, lip. All right, so we're doing the nude lip. I decided again, because that's what we had most of the show. Sometimes we transitioned to red lip or pink lip, but for this look, I'm gonna do what we did for most of the show. Keep it simple. In another video, I'll show you the pink lip you want to see that we did for the monster ball. For today, I'm going to show you the Born This Way ball lip. Okay? Okay. First, I'm going to use this Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in, does it have a number? I don't think so. It needs to be sharpened as well. Zoinks. Okay, whatever. I will just fill the rest of this in. All right, I'm going to fill in with this Pitch Kevyn Aucoin Flesh Tone Lip Pencil. We're going to take our lip brush, and we're going to take our Bobbi Brown palette, which, by the way, I didn't show you the other side last time. It also has all of these, so literally everything. But I'm going to go boop, boop, ba-doo. Boop, boop, ba-doo, doo, doo. Dooby doo. And let's flip over to the other side for a little bit of blondie pink, pale mauve. I know it seems like a lot, pale pink. And there we go. And with that, I'm just gonna add a little moist color to this. Beautiful, fantastic. Then I'm going to take my Sealed with a Kiss, of course, tap that on so that lipstick stays. And then we're going to take Beige Bobbi Brown. There's our little contour. Because we are going to the Born This Way ball. Just add a little extra pop. Did I scare you, pop? I scared Ladybug. Then one more final touch. Highbrow by Benefit. Take our brush Dip dabby doo boo. And the waterline just gives it a little brightness. And I would do just a little in here, a little in here. Just gives like a little eye-opening badow. And there she is. Bam! I'm ready to go to the Born This Way ball. I hope you liked it. Okay, so I have taken a Q-tip with moisturizer on it and just swiped away the lines, taken my foundation brush and just taken it with nothing on it, just what was left over, and wiped away. So the reason why I've taken the beloved down the nose liner away for you super fans out there is because I wanted to show you that where during the show she had the liner down the nose in that Born This Way ball, and then during the meet and greet she either had this look, usually it was this look, but I just wanted to demonstrate for you how easily you could take that look and switch it into something else. We'll take a little, I like Fluid Line Black Track. I don't have it right now, but we'll just do dip down for now. Take my Chanel brush, I'll dip it in there. Just darken up this on both sides. Let's get under the eye. First, darken here, right at that lash line. That's why the fine tip really helps, because you want to like get under the lashes. Just like let the brush like lay underneath your lashes. And if you have like a vanity or a sink, this would be a great time to stand at your sink or your vanity and like lean your elbow on there to really get good stability. Because we're gonna go in. Darken up the corner just a scooch. I'm just leaning my elbow on myself. I'm gonna go right here. Start in here. And extend him out a little bit, and we'll darken that up with a blacker liner. And this is just like playing, which is the best part of makeup. And once you get like your shape perfect how you want it with your X-Acto liner, aka this brush, that's when you can fill it in with something less precise. But I like to start with this guy because he is so precise. At this point in the day, I don't know how you all are with coffee, but my caffeine intake has been a little bit excessive, so my shakies have gone up a bit. That's what Q-tips are for, though. You try to leave like a little gap between the line and your eye so that it like shows, the skin shows through. And then we're gonna get serious with this liner. Just go in, don't be scared. Worst comes to worst, you just wipe it off. I like to start with the felt tip at the sharpest point because it tends to make it pointy, if that makes sense. It's like the point goes there, so you point the point there instead of ending there, or else it'll be more dull when it ends there, you know? And then take like this highbrow. It's really great for just like brightening up in between things like this. So I would do it like right here. Just adds a little extra there. Just pop those out. And I'm gonna have to look up for this between these two lines. So I just wanted to show you how you could take what we already just did and build it into something. You could switch it up, do like a makeup quick change and turn that very quickly, oops, into something extra. You could have 2 extra looks, and by 2 extra looks, I don't mean 2 additional looks. I mean 2 looks that are extra. And there you go. Graphic liner does not have to be like, take you a million years. Yeah. Boop boop doo.